Hey Project Ads, it is me, Justin again, here to do just a quick little side project. I just got home from work and I seem to have all the supplies I need for this project, and I'm going to show you what that is right now. About 10 years ago, I installed this light fixture, and I know you're not going to be able to tell, but it's warming up. There's something, it just is not bright enough for the dining room, and so I'm going to make a light fixture that's something my wife had in mind, and so you're about to see that. All right, here we are out on the porch, and a few months back my wife picked up this cute little decorative ladder. Let me get this down. Cute little decorative ladder when we were up in Amish country. It's made of reclaimed wood, but it was obviously not a ladder. It would break. And she wants this to be a light fixture. Now the big issue I have with it is it's asymmetrical. As you can see, it is narrow. Well, I guess you can't see, but it's narrow here at the top, and at the bottom it gets wider. That's kind of a visual thing for me that I don't like, but here's the other stuff I'm going to be using. Got this brown and white cloth wrapped lamp wire on Amazon. I guess I'll put the links in the description for some of this stuff. I also, off of Amazon, got these Asher Edison style LED light bulbs. These are a warm glow, they're not the bright white. And I got a pack of 6 of these light sockets, this antique kind of look. Again, this was all from Amazon. Then I went to our local hardware store, and there I picked up some galvanized pipe hold down things and some assorted hardware. And I'm going to make this a hanging light fixture, and I'm going to bring you along for it. So this is what I have in mind. This ladder will be hanging from the ceiling by chains. I don't want it hanging too low, but I want the light fixtures to actually not be dangling from it like a chandelier. I want them attached to the side. There's 6 of these, and to do that I'm going to use these galvanized pipe holders, and they're going to be over that, and I'm going to screw them into the side. Oh, can't see it. Screw these into the side of this, and depending on where, there are 6 of them. I could do them on the inside, but I kind of like them on the outside. For the screws, I got a gold brass looking type screw, so I'm going to put that together, and I'm going to use the base of the original light to I'm going to use that to hang this from, and I've got some little eyelets. Let me see where these are. Some screw-in eyelets that I'm going to screw into that, and that's going to attach to the chain, so it's going to all come out and hold up this ladder. Here are all 6 of the light sockets that I got from Amazon, and they do have a ring that you can take off and put different I don't know what they're called, the glass bulbs or globes or whatever on them. I'm going to be using them bare, just with the light bulbs out. Now, this was a brainchild of my wife and me. Just, she wanted the ladder, and I said, well, let's figure out what we can do. Now, these are called 1.5-inch galvanized tube straps. Now, I admit, I should have tried out. I took one of the sockets to the store, and I used the galvanized conduit straps. They were a little bit taller, and they didn't have that kind of pattern look like in the galvanized that these do, but the 1.5-inch fit perfectly on the socket. These do not fit perfectly. In fact, they will fall right out. So what I'm having to do is I am bending them in and then bending the tabs back up, and that allows these to pop right over top of, and it'll actually hold them tight against the board. A little bit of extra work. I probably should have gone with 1.25 inches instead of 1.5 inches, but oh well, I can work with this. Like I said, here's the gold looking hardware. and the little eyelets for hanging it. And I've got a chain kit somewhere, and that wire, that cloth wrapped wire, I've never worked with that before, so you'll see me struggle with that in a minute. I pulled down my old light fixture, and as you can see, it's a compact fluorescent. Ugh, I mean, that's why the light's so dim. I could probably put a really bright LED in there and do better, but we just wanted something new. So the reason I have this whole piece out is I'm going to use this top piece, which attaches to the plate, and I'm going to detach this rounded piece from this stem, or I don't know what you call these parts, and I'm going to make my junction, my electric junction, up in the top here, but I'm going to just put a grommet, but this is going to hang the ladder. Now, you might be thinking, it's not going to support the weight. This thing is made of just the lightest wood. I don't know what it's made of, helium maybe, but I'm going to use that to hang from, and if it seems to be a problem, I'll have to reinforce it, but I think it's going to do just fine. I think I need to be more concerned about the weight of these and the wire. The wire is actually the heaviest part. So I'm going to try to get this into some arrangement to get started. So I've got them taken apart, and this one, I should have been taking them all out with this threaded piece, but I left the threaded piece inside of them, and I don't know. And this one, that's the one I took to the store last night, and I've really messed up the thread, so I'm just going to have to work with this one as it is. There's enough there for the little plastic piece to grab onto on the top, and so not a huge deal, but stuff that you're going to run into. Again, I'm going to have to tighten up all these little rings, and I guess you could leave them off if you wanted to. I like the texture look of them. All right, so this is the plate that goes over the box on the ceiling. These are the two little decorative nuts that fasten it to the ceiling and hold it up there. I need 4 eyelets of these eyelets to hold my chains, so that I won't interfere with the studs that come down from the ceiling. I'm thinking I'm going to come just beyond it. I'm going to do 1, and as you can see, I'm really measuring here, and then come straight below it, and then come out, and then come over here, a little bit lower. I'm going to drill those 4 holes that I've just marked, and after I drill those 4 holes, then I can install these through and put the nut on the back, and that'll, I was going to cut them off or put like a stop nut on it, but instead I'm just going to let it pull against that because the weight will pull it, and that way I can screw it in or out, and I might even put some glue on the backside or some putty so that I don't even have to pull the plate off to adjust up and down to adjust those chains. All right, as you can see, I have installed, looks like a little spaceman hat. I've screwed these eyelets in. I actually drilled the hole just right so that they will actually thread in. It wouldn't hold them, but it actually holds the nuts off of them so that I can get this thing right before I hang it up. Now, this brushed nickel does not match the aesthetic of this antique looking ladder thing that I'm going to do. So I'm going to paint this before I go any further, and I think I'm going to paint it the same brown color that I painted my wheels. If you haven't seen the how to paint your car wheels, or don't paint your, I don't know, whatever I titled it, there'll be a link somewhere so that you can watch that video. But I think I'm going to use the same kind of brown hammered finished. It's by Rust-Oleum because it has a real good antique look. So I'm going to get that done. Well, I actually got out my tape measure for something, and this is conveniently right at 60 inches long. So this middle rung of the ladder is right at 30 inches. So I'm going to put my middle right there, and I just figure it looks like the spacing's pretty even. So they're, that's about 5.5 inches. And down here, yep, 5.5 inches. So I'm just going to put my middle light bulb fixture there. So 1 and 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I'm going to go ahead and attach all the light fixtures, then I'll start worrying about the wiring. My biggest concern right now is how to junction that wiring, and whether I need to be too concerned about it. But let's go ahead and get these attached. Okay, now you can see all the light fixtures, or the sockets I should say, making the fixture are now where they should be, pretty evenly spaced out. I guess I'm just putting off doing the wire. It's not that I can't do wiring, I just don't like to. I need to get some staples so I can staple down the wire. But some of these went on a little crooked, and something that really bothered me is I bought too much hardware. That's probably $2 worth of things, and since I've opened them I can't return them. I guess I could tape them back into their packages. Anyway, alright, well, let's get right to it with the wire. This is the wire. I looked up on Amazon, and like I said, there'll be a link, but I just looked up and there was different colors. My wife picked this kind of brown tweed looking, and I looked up vintage lamp wire. So it looks like I'm going to have to put the little black piece on that goes on top. I have to put those on first, then go through the housing, then go through the actual socket, and then each one of these sockets, let me get this close, each one of these sockets has 2 tiny little screw terminals on either side. And so I'm gonna, then once you wire it, then you can shove it back up through. The main thing is with this wire, I think to strip it I'm gonna have to use a knife, or I'm gonna just use a razor blade and cut the cloth around the edges so it won't fray. And it looks like even from the factory they have a piece of masking tape around the end, and that's probably a good idea to tape it up so that the cloth won't just unravel. So I'm going to go ahead and do this. You'll just have to imagine me doing it, because there's no good way for me to film the disaster that's about to take place. Okay, well, the sockets aren't that bad. It's going to be time consuming. What I'm going to do is I'm going to run all the wire. I'm going to loop it sort of like this. It's hard to see because of that pattern. Loop it like this. Staples, and then come down and come to the middle. Now I thought about it. I don't want 6 wires going up to the ceiling. I just want 1. So I'm going to have a junction right here. I went over to my neighbor. He was kind enough to hook me up with a little junction box and in the Romex connectors. And so I'm going to have all the wires coming here, junction to 1, Romex connector going straight up. I'm just going to leave it galvanized. I was going to paint it, but I was like, I'll leave it galvanized because it ties in with these galvanized straps on the side. It's just going to be time consuming to do this. So as I'm working, I might time lapse this, or you might just see the finished product. You'll see. Well, I realize it's dark out here, and I've yada-yada'd over a lot of the things that I've done, but let me see if I can get this camera to actually go where it's supposed to. Well, you can see the light bulbs are installed. I have made my junction here of all the wires. There we go. I've got it hooked up to this plate, which has been painted. I'm basically ready to install it. The next time you see it, it will be installed. These wires, working with that cloth is a pain in the butt, because if you're not careful and you don't tape it down, it pulls back out of the way. But I like the look, but if I had to do it again, I would just use regular old lamp wire like this one. Next time you see this, it'll be hanging up in the house. Well, I gotta admit, I did rush through that last part, at least not videoing a whole lot. It got dark outside, and wife and daughters were having a Bible study in here with a group from church. And so I just finished it out on the porch and brought it in. And if you can notice, there's a lot of light on my face right now. That is because it is up, installed, and working, and you're about to see it. This is the light fixture. As you can see, it is plenty bright. I've got it hanging down just over a foot from the ceiling, but we have never had this much light in this room. Just asked a friend who was over here. I was like, what style would you call this? She said farmhouse industrial. I didn't know you could mix the two, but yeah, I think it goes really well with our table. This was a family, or actually my father-in-law made this table for us for Christmas. The lady approves of the new light. Actually, I think she's really confused. She's probably going to jump up and destroy it. Like I said, it looks heavy. It actually is lighter than a ceiling fan. That I didn't really have to reinforce anything up there. It is in tight and snug, and I'm happy with it. This was a very specific project. Doubt you would have any questions about it, but if you do, I'd be glad to answer them. And thanks for watching.